IEBC released numbers for week 1 of registration, which the entire of last week we were so worried because we did not look like we were going to meet any target. We were way below 50% of the daily targets. Of course, the weekly target set by the IEBC is at least 1.4 million voters. The number as it is 825,145 registered on week 1. Just with that alone, even before going to the counties and where the numbers are, 825,000 against 1.4 million votes, potential voters. The IEBC has a target of 6.1 million new voters by mid-February. Do you think we're going to meet that? Are we going to even to get close to that?
Well, we are on the second week. We have 21 more days to go. We are at 825,000. We may meet half or maybe about 4 million.
So realistically 50% to be, so 3 million.
So already we are at 54. And that's week 1. And normally week 1 is very slow, technically knowing who Kenyans are, they like their last minute rush. So that's 54, about 54%.
And that's again the misconception that everyone can wait till the last week. After all, IEBC has been very clear that this BVR kits have a limitation.
Correct. A
capacity limitation, and they cannot handle a huge number. Each machine can only handle 200 registrations a day.
I would imagine that we were able to appoint the commissioners just the other day. We now have a chairman, we have the new commissioners. So it's sort of, they are now coming in to give support to the secretariat. And last night I was speaking to one of the commissioners, and they are telling me that they have decided to go out by themselves. The commissioners will be in each and every region, going also to be part of the process of encouraging Kenyans to come out and register. So I think the first week has been a little bit slow because the new commissioners were taking office, everything was not really in place. But by this week, we are going to see changes. Actually, I'm sort of impressed because we've seen even the political parties and our leaders, both in the opposition and the government, have been out there urging people to come out and register, and they're not about to stop. So by this week, we should witness lots of progress towards attaining the numbers.
And that's the irony, because this is a country where, as we mentioned before, doctors are on strike, lecturers are on strike. We're facing drought. It's still not an emergency. But when it comes to voter registration, everyone goes out and it becomes a national issue.
Well, I think it's important, you know, politics and shapes our future, shapes the kind of leaders who are going to be leading us and ensure that we continue to get development. If we take a look at these numbers, where we are as a country, February 14th, 15th will have determined who the next president of this country will be, simply by the mapping out of the regions, the voter turnout. So this story that is always in the media, it was stolen. It was not stolen. Numbers don't lie, you know, and this is exactly what it is that we are saying. People wanted to go and do mass demonstrations. We said we are going to go out and do mass voter registration, because this is eventually what is going to be the tiebreaker in terms of who gets to lead this country. And that is what we are taking a look at. So let's, know all these stories of, you're using, I don't know, NIS to steal this. No. Look, where is this page here?
We'll come and look at the numbers. We'll come to that in a short while.
You know?
We'll come to that. Do you agree that come February 14th, every politician will just be sitting down with a calculator and going this region plus this region?
No, I think Kenyans, I mean, after that we must give Kenyans about 1 to 2 months to make a final decision on how they want to vote. So how we do our voting now, that's not really, it's not 100% proof that whoever has the region that has the highest will definitely win. No. Now, when we talk about numbers, you cannot talk of numbers that takes you 3 days to tell Kenyans who is the winner. So now you bring so many question marks and then you give people a winner. So that's where the problem is, because it took the Jubilee government 3 days to tell us who the winner was. So that is where the problem starts.
Jubilee government or the courts? I mean, I don't understand.
No,
which part of it? IBC?
No, IBC.
So
IBC.
how is IBC Jubilee?
No.
You need to clarify and stop giving stories.
That was not a story.
It is.
We know very well who was in control of IBC at that time, and that's why we rejected IBC. And now we have another IBC hoping that things will be better, hoping against all hope. that this time there will be no underplays. But let me tell you, I have been on the ground. I only came for this interview. I've been in Kisumu since the voter listing started. We have issues also, and we are not just complaining for the sake of complaining. First of all, this idea of moving with the kit from one center to another is still a problem. Because you put it here for 1 day or 2 days, then you move it to another center. Within a ward, you have only 3. And a ward could be having, say, 16 to 20 polling stations. So that is still a problem. Then when we started immediately, some of them failed. And I think that was just an indication to tell us that is the reason why we want to go analog in the final voting is because these things definitely they fail. So this is just the beginning to prepare us, to tell us that we are not just crying to go analog because of for the sake of it, but there's a possibility that these machines fail. And then there are 3 issues. So there is the issue of the rotation of the kits, and then the failure, and the fact that most people, it is dry now. People are looking for water, looking for other things. So if I go there and it fails, and I don't get the kit, then you tell me come after another 2-3 days. So still, in my view, in some areas they are so disadvantaged.
But that problem is across the country. It's not just in one region. And
no, that is why you can see the numbers are not as good as they should be.
And the question is,
I'm talking across the county. I'm not talking about the Kisumu County.
What is the
but I'm talking about.
She was in Kisumu County, not in Mexico.
Let me ask you this question.
What I'm talking about is very pertinent, because I'm talking about that 825. Why we are at 825 and not at a million?
We have at least 15 million voters. Yes. That means we do not have a shortage of voters. 15 million people can elect a president.
Correct.
We have voters across the country.
Sure.
What is the crisis in getting these new people to come and register as voters? What is the big deal?
We know there are some regions where people are being even beaten up to go and register. In central Kenya and in Mount Kenya, we don't beat up people. We talk to them.
But we've seen instances where even clerics are denying people Holy Communion. If at all they cannot.
Beating up people is assault on the person. Yes. Denying a communion is just a spiritual affair. So what I'm saying is that there are permanent complainants in this country. There are crybabies in this country. So let people come out and register. IEBC is doing its job, honestly. We must be able to give credit its due, because we can't say that we had a problem with the former IEBC, the commissioners who were there then. Now we brought in new ones. We are now complaining again. When will you ever be satisfied with this country? Instead of they're trying to shift blame from now IEBC, the registration of voters and all this stuff. I don't think this will help. Let them talk to their people and make them see the sense of voting or registering as voters. That is going to be of more help than beating up people, assaulting them, or even complaining all the time.
Now let's take a look at the numbers. And on the front page of the Daily Nation, Central, this is Central Kenya, leads a new voters drive. That's according to the IEBC. Let's take a look at some of the counties where you come from. And on the Standard has actually listed all these counties on page 4. And we start off with Meru County. Potential voters with IDs not registered as of December 2016, 327,000. The target by IEBC to register is targeting 219,000. By week 1, you had gotten 33,000. That's approximately less than 15%. That's less than 15% of the target on week 1.
Yes.
Kiambu, 373 potential voters with IDs but not registered. 250,000 is a target according to the IEBC by mid-Feb. 61,000 already registered week 1. That's close to 25%.
I don't know where they got their figures from, because I think what IEBC has given us on the ground is 514,000.
The ones with the potential IDs.
Potential IDs. At least those are the numbers that I have. And the target of what we have done.
Not what you have done.
Yes,
the
our target buy is 250, correct?
Yes, and then you manage 61%, which is about close to 25%. Kisumu County, 273,000 potential voters with IDs but not registered. 183,000, that's a target by IEBC to register within this month-long exercise. Now, so far, 21,000. That's
20%.
Almost 11%. 11%. That's it's slightly more than 10%. Slightly more than 10% of the votes. That's low. If at all you go with that target, that means you'll only get to 40%. If at all you go with that target, you get probably to 60%. But if Kiambu continue the way they're doing, they could actually get 100%. What's the difference between Kiambu and these other counties?
Definitely, and it is known that our people have not been sensitized enough, much as we really try. We are on the ground as leaders. Our party, all the major party leaders, they are on the ground telling the people that the importance. It's not good for us to not to take the vote, not to vote, and then complain later, because it determines the future of most of these people. But we have a weakness there, and we are working on it. Right now, we are permanently on the ground. All the MPs. You went to Parliament yesterday, there was nobody there, including myself. I came just because of this interview. But it is a failure and it's a weakness on our side, but we are working on it. Because we don't want people to come up and fail. I mean, looking at Kiambu, they are doing well. But I don't think overall, after this, we will see now the overall, the CORD areas and the Jubilee areas. Then somebody can definitely say, I can now sit back, because the vote is now on my
But looking at county, because Meru is also Jubilee, Kiambu is Jubilee. We cannot really say they're all on one side. But your numbers are not as good as Kiambu.
Well, I think when we talk about what we are doing within Kiambu, we have the same issues in terms of the BVR machines getting spoiled. If you break it down per constituency, per ward level, then you see that, you know, areas where we would expect a higher number, because the BVR kits are maybe not necessarily working, that will have some sort of discrepancy. We are on target. We want to get 100% because we understand the importance and why we don't want violence in this country. And this is what we are preaching. It's mobilization. It's talking to our people and telling them that this time we can hear the drum beats of war being told, and somebody is starting already, the crybabies have started that, oh, we have one last bullet, we are not going to lose, we are not going to do this. So we tell people in our area, you make sure you come out and you vote. You must exercise your democratic right to ensure that you vote the leaders that you want, to come on out and ensure that you are lining up to get your voter's ID. And we are doing that and talking to our people. We don't believe in beating up people. We don't believe in
I'm assuming the message is similar in Meru. How come it's not having the same effect?
In fact, the president was in Meru on Saturday, and one of the issues that he was speaking to is the issue of voter registration, and he crisscrossed the county talking to the Meru residents, and they came out in large numbers to welcome him, and they received the message. But we must also appreciate that this is week one. We've divided ourselves as leaders. Those who will go out there, some of our leaders now are on the ground doing the voter mobilization. So we are working on it, and actually our target is to register over 500,000 new registered voters. So I can only ask you to watch this space and call me after the voter registration.
Do you think the intra-politics of Meru are affecting the registration? I do understand there's a grouping called Kikali against Governor Munya, and there's a lot of infighting within politics, all of you supporting the same presidential candidate but fighting within yourselves. Do you think that is affecting the way you mobilize voters to register?
First of all, I don't think we are fighting. No one is fighting. We are all campaigning because governor is seeking re-election, and there's someone else who wants to take over the seat. So each of them is trying to get that space. So it doesn't matter whether there is each of them is campaigning in their own separate ways. At the end of the day, whether it's Governor Munya, he requires the voter to go and vote for him. Whether it is the other party, they require the voter to go and vote for them. So we have a common message in both camps, that we need to bring out the people to come in and vote. Whether I'm in PNU, whether I'm in Jubilee, what matters is that voter is the most important person as we speak now. So that does not affect anything at all.
Maybe if I can add, you see, the issue of democracy within our region is very critical. And the ability to mobilize the voters, because you know that you're not going to be handed your Jubilee nomination on a silver platter. also encourages the voters to come on out and register as voters so they can seek their own candidate. Whereas in other parties, you know, you go, you give money and you're given the nomination. So people are like, well, why should we go and bother and register as voters?
No, I don't think that's a correct position that somebody should even mention on a television like this. But all of us know that, we know very well that the democratic space that has been created in this nation is as a result of our party leader. So when you talk of democracy, I don't think there's anybody else that you want to mention their name. What I'm concerned about is our numbers. Our numbers are low. 11% is not good. So as leaders, we must put more than enough to make sure that our people come out and vote and register. That's the main thing. And then time for mobilizing them to vote, that will come. But right now, we must go extra mile to make sure that we list enough people.
And there are other various efforts that are going on besides the politicians. One of the headlines here on page 19 of the Standard, the ugly side of voter registration campaigns. This is in Nyanza. Youth in Nyanza have put up roadblocks, which they're even using to extort as extortion points. Basically, if you cannot brandish a voter's card, you have to pay to go through. But we're still not seeing it working.
Yeah.
It may not be. I mean, that could just be isolated cases. I don't think it's anywhere. I didn't see that in Kisumu for the last 1 week. But it could be isolated, and mostly people take the negative. That's what they want to bring out. But I can tell you, even in issues of education, places where there are most education in Kisumu County, there are places where the chiefs did their best to make sure that people went to school. So it doesn't matter how you do it, but the result is that you must achieve the education that you needed. So our people have not been sensitized enough to see that voter registration is very important and voting is very, very important. So going out of the way to make sure that we do it, it could be crude, but could be also very isolated.
Are you expecting better numbers this week?
Definitely we are going to have better numbers, because you even as at yesterday, you can see Monday, Tuesday, today's Wednesday, it is improving.
Yes.
Yeah, so 11% definitely is small and it's very low, but we must up it, and we make sure in Kisumu we want about 277. So we target over 200,000 people.
Okay. Let's now take another short break. We'll be back to finish up this discussion as well as wrap up our news review this morning.
Give me the inspiration. I think even I would like to become a teacher.
I have found a perfect match for my son.
What is it, Mom? Do you really believe that Anandi is ready for marriage? Does Anandi know what a marriage really means?
Don't instigate my daughter, or else you will have to pay for it.
But Dad, I will miss my school very much.
Balikavadu, Monday to Friday on Citizen Television. The biggest stars have made it their second home. Ali Kiba, Flavor, Fali Ipupa, Chameleon, Calligraph, Cynthia Morgan, Eddie Kenzo. Hot button topics have been unpacked, no holds barred.
You're telling the boys to play.
They must.
You're telling the girls not to play.
Of course not.
Who are the boys playing with?
It is simply entertainment redefined. 10 over 10 with the sizzling Joy Muthengi and the wild Willis Raburu. Catch this electrifying show every Friday at 10 p.m. only on Citizen Television.
Welcome back. Let's now wrap up our news review this morning with MPs Anna Nyokabi Gadesha, Rose Nyamunga and Florence Kajuju. And of course, the main point of discussion this morning has been the numbers as given to us by IEBC in terms of voter registration for week 1. We are in week 2, but the numbers will come out next week. even as we continue counting, and as we said, probably come mid-February, every politician will just be sitting down with a calculator and seeing how far they've gone. But already there are claims of rigging, and the main headline on the Daily Nation: Raila Uhuru clash over rigging claims. President dismisses allegations as ridiculous, and these allegations are as follows. Raila Odinga is quoted here saying, let the NIS Director General come out in public and announce that the department will be neutral during the polls. They should serve all Kenyans and not Jubilee alone. The president says, leave Kenyans to choose who they want as their leader without your constant threats. Stop blackmailing Kenyans with your threats of violence. We're all just only at voter registration. Yeah, 6 months to the election, exactly 994 days to the election date, and already these numbers are getting so political.
Of course. I think, let me start. When we take a look at the last elections that we've had, the story is the same. Each time, rigging, because he's trying to prepare Kenyans for violence. This is being stolen. My ID card is the same as this person. I don't know, this mischief is happening, and it's the same platform that is being laid down. Numbers don't lie. So stop talking to us about NIS, I don't know who is doing what. Go register your people. And then at the end of it, when we are finished and they've done the voter registry cleanup, these numbers that are demonstrated here, they don't lie across the country. And you know, you have all of these alliances trying to come together. The truth is, democracy is what the masses speak. So let us stop all these stories of trying to prepare Kenyans for violence, and go out, ask your people to register, and let the numbers come on the table, and then we start saying, okay, this is the way that we want our government, and these are the leaders that we want, and how we are going to go forth in this country. And it's important, because this issue of rigging claims, we've heard it time and again, and each single time the story and the platform is the same. It doesn't change. Okay.
Rose Nyamunga, of course, the opposition has been accused over and over again of crying wolf. Is this another one of those instances?
No, this one we cannot say it's about just crying foul or numbers don't lie. IBC itself has accepted there are 128,000 Kenyans who are at who risk being struck off the register because of the malfunctioning of whatever it is. I don't know what has caused so many people to share the ID number or one ID number with so many people. So those are not lies, those are things that have been accepted by IBC, and they are on the table for each and every person to see. So we are not just crying foul. Now about rigging. You know, when Raila says anything, they say Raila is lying. Then they start by saying, I would rather die over my dead body. At the end of it all these things will come to light. So when he says that there is rigging or NIS is doing something, instead of arguments, we should look into the real issues and come and tell Kenyans that really this is where the problem is and we are trying to solve it. Instead of starting to blame that Raila is just talking, war cry. We are not up to that. Whatever we have stood by, whatever we have always said, it has always come to the light. And Kenyans now believe like 100% of what Baba says, that whatever he says is true. So when we talk of rigging, it is there. IEBC rigged the 2013 elections, and it was so clear. Yeah, it was very clear by the number of days. If we vote today, why would it take 3 days for IBC to tell us who the winner is?
Okay. Florence Kajuju, of course, for an exercise of this magnitude, there has to be a few issues here and there, issues of voter transfer, even not nationally, even in terms of counties. Like, for example, in Nairobi, we do understand that quite a number of people are now transferring their votes to Nairobi from neighboring counties, neighboring constituencies into Nairobi. It is not illegal, the IEBC said that, but surely they accept, as Mheshimiwa mentioned here, they've accepted that 126,000 registrations were actually not correct, and that those have to be relooked at. Do you think it's normal that there will be complaints of such nature? You
remember the Kirito Orengo committee that was formed one of the issues that they spoke to was the voter cleaning up, the voter register cleaning up. When that was supposed to happen, there were issues again that it should not happen. And I think it would have been very important for that voter register to be cleaned up, because people have died in the course of time. Then there are also mistakes in even in the issuance of our names, the way they are registered. There are so many faults that can happen. It's only normal. Even machines can collapse. So when we talk about voter cleanup, register cleanup, it's only natural that it should happen. But because IEBC, I think, is being man enough by saying there is a problem which can happen in any administration. So if there is a problem, let us sort it out. I don't think that should not be taken up to be a base of complaining. But these complainants are going far by saying that NIS is involved even in registering persons from across their country, in Uganda and Tanzania. Honestly, why would a sane person, assuming they are sane, claim that there is a registration of voters from outside the country? We know the requirements for one to be a voter in Kenya. You must be a citizen. So I think it's not necessary for us to start raising hairs. I watched the party leader of ODM saying that this time he's going to have the tyranny of numbers. I would really love him to have the tyranny of numbers, but from what I'm seeing now, it's unfortunate. If Kisumu has 11%, when we are talking of over 25% in Kiambu, then he's out for a road deal.
Okay. For the numbers, in terms of the numbers, we just have to keep watch, and probably next week you say you're expecting better numbers.
What I would like to raise, it's not a matter of complaining. It's a matter of raising issues where there are concerns. We cannot have a situation where even if something is wrong and you see, you cannot talk. So we are not in a police state. So if an issue, if there are issues of foreigners getting into the country to register, it should be looked into. Instead of denying, let's have raised it. Can you check and give us the actual, the true position? So it's not a matter of complaints, it's a matter of raising issues.
But it's also a good narrative, so that when they lose elections, they have a base on how to complain, as usual.
Okay, ladies, I'm just about to give you time to give your final submissions, because our time is up, and Cheche will be up next with Udwa Kamimo. She'll be hosting Cabinet Secretary for Treasury, Henry Rotich, of course, alongside her regular panelists, Mutegi Njau and Charles Odhiambo. So as we wrap up our news review this morning, give us your final submissions, probably a call to your voters to come out and register even in larger numbers this week.
Of course. My appeal is for Kenyans who want to ensure that this country transitions during the next elections in peace. Come on out, register. It is your democratic right as a citizen of this country to come on out and vote. We will be with the President will transverse Kiambu County on Friday. So come on out, register as voters, use your democratic right to choose the leaders who will transition and lead this country to greater heights. And don't allow us to fall into violence by not exercising your vote. Be the tiebreaker in this country to ensure that we maintain good leadership, transparency, and to elect the kind of leaders that Kenya needs.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, I would also like to, on the same note, to appeal to Kisumu people, because 11% or thereabout that's a very, very low turnout. Even if it is a first week, it's a very, very low turnout. It doesn't augur well, and we've been going round. Our party leaders are going round. Kalonzo is going out. Raila, all of them are going round. All of us are on the ground trying to mobilize our people to vote. I mean, to register. So I want to appeal to our people to be more serious than that. We are doing our best. They should also try to do their best. It's about numbers. Voting is about numbers, and we need as many people as possible. At the same time, we want to urge IBC that areas of concern where we have raised issues, they should not be trashed or be looked at negatively or as a complaint. They are not complaints. These are genuine concerns that should be looked into, and the solutions brought forward. Also, the issue of moving around with the kids, it's also a very big concern. I mean, most of Nyanza is very dry, and people go fetching water. So looking for fetching water, going for water registration, missing the kit here and going again the following day, that's also taking a toll on some dry areas. So those are some of the concerns that should be looked into.
Okay, thank you. Standing.
Thank you for the opportunity for us to be able to talk to Kenyans. I appeal to the residents of Meru County, kindly continue to register as voters. It's very important, especially now that we choose the leaders that we want. The only way you can speak to the leader that you want is by way of taking that vote and voting on the 8th of August 2017. It's important that we do that as Kenyans, and I pray that even as we go out to campaign, let Kenyans know that Kenya is more important than any other person. So let us ensure that there is peace, and let us campaign peacefully without necessarily antagonizing other leaders, so that at the end of the day we keep Kenya intact. That is my first and one goal that I really cherish. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Florence Kajuju, Women Representative Meru County, Rose Nyamunga, Women Representative Kisumu County, and Anna Nyokabi Gadesha, Women Representative Kiambu County, helping us look at the headlines this morning. My name is Freddy Ndimuli. For me, it's good morning, and Cheche is up next.
Thank you.
Yes, I royalty by black once again.